Hello, everybody. Just on a little night walk. It's pretty quiet out. I don't think there's going to be too many cars zooming by, ruining my audio. Probably not too many people outside wondering what the heck I'm doing, why I'm talking to my phone at night. But, no, I just wanted to expand a little bit on the video that I uploaded a couple months ago. Do I think I'm a loser in the grand scheme of things? No, I think I'm a winner. I think my life is pretty great. I really don't have that much to complain about. I just wish I were more educated, and I think that's kind of where the sentiment of that video came from, is I just feel like I have so little knowledge in all of these core areas that I feel everybody should have knowledge in. And so, and I'm 35, and so I feel like I'm way behind in that in that aspect of my life. And I guess just the other thing too is that, you know, not even once you reach 35, but like really like after you're like kind of college aged, like after you're like 22, 23, you know, mid 20s, people just view you as being a lot more delusional, if that makes sense. Like, I'd say that if you're a teenager and you're really ambitious, people will say, oh, that's great, that kid has so much life in him, he's going places, or at least they're rooting for him, they're on his side. They might think he's a bit delusional, but they're not going to quash that, at least most people. If you meet somebody in college who's like 19, 20, they know what they want to major in, they've got their internships lined up. If they're in an area that requires extensive research, they have you know, some research assistant positions under their belt. Maybe they've written some very good, really good papers about a specific topic in their field. They've networked a lot. Or even if you're just like a business bro, a finance bro, you might not be seen as like intellectually at the right end of the bell curve of IQ, but at least you know you're hardworking. You're going for monetary success, and you know you have a good job lined up after you graduate, and you have stacks of money at least to show for it. But I feel like people who don't take off at that traditional age of, you know, 22, 23, and then they find themselves in their mid-20s, their late 20s, their 30s, or their 40s even, and they don't have that much to show for it, very few people are going to be on your side. And it's funny too, because when you're younger and you have that attitude, people think that's a good attitude, that's a hardworking attitude. People are positive about it. But again, once you hit like your mid-20s, you have that same attitude of, oh, I want to achieve a lot, I want to be successful. But people just view it the complete opposite way. They just view it as, oh, this person's delusional, because, you know, if they were actually going to accomplish great things, they would have done so by now. And there is some truth to that. I think, I know it's a huge meme, that Sam Hyde video saying people's brains crystallize after 30, and I've watched a lot of videos about brain plasticity and about how your brain stays plastic throughout your life, but it's a lot harder to shape it after you turn 25 or so. And so, I mean, there is some truth to that. After people reach their mid-20s, it's rare for somebody to drastically change their mind, it's rare enough for people to change their body. I mean, if somebody loses a significant amount of weight and keeps it off, that in and of itself is rare, but that's probably the easiest of the things to change. I mean, it's rare enough to change your body, but then it's even rarer to change your mind at a later age, change your attitude, change your habits, and really just to change your life in any meaningful way. So many people, they're just stuck in their teenage years, and they're just kind of half-heartedly trying to recapture those feelings the rest of their life of when they were 15 or 16 or whichever age they just felt the most naturally happy, the most naturally optimistic. Or perhaps those were the years they were treated the best because that was when they looked the best. Who knows? I mean, some people, they fall off a cliff in terms of looks once they hit their 20s or their 30s, but I think most of that's genetic. I know that the looks maxing stuff is all really popular, and yeah, there's some stuff you can do, but I think at the end of the day, whether or not you're pretty, whether or not you're handsome, I think is mostly genetic. Same with longevity, for that matter. I know there's so many people who are trying to longevity max. I mean, people have been talking about this stuff online for a long time, about blue zones and like, oh, like people who eat this diet, they live to be 100, or there's that Brian Johnson guy, that billionaire who's trying to live forever, and he's like, he takes like hundreds of pills and never goes in the sun and measures his sleep and his nighttime erections and all this other weird stuff. But I think most of that stuff doesn't matter that much. I think you can cut your life short if you have like a really bad habit, like if you're smoking packs of cigarettes every day or drinking alcohol every day, or eating a excessive amount of junk food every day, and you're like 500 pounds. Yeah, you'll probably live shorter than average or shorter than you naturally would. But as far as extending your life, I don't think there's that much you can do. At least with the current knowledge we have. Maybe there will be some amazing breakthrough in the future where we're able to double our lifespans, triple our lifespans, whatever. I'm not that optimistic about it, but who knows. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, talking about why people might cling to their youth and the things they did in their youth is because they were good looking. But no, it's rare for people to change, and yeah, people just aren't really on your. It's not like I need cheerleaders. Like, again, I'm a grown man. I'm in my 30s. I don't need people to be like, oh, we're with you, we got your back. Like, I don't need any of that. But it's just frustrating, like when you're networking or you're trying to meet new people, because I mean, it goes for both men and women, but especially as a man, like, if you're a man and you want to make things happen, but you don't have much to show for it after a certain age, like, nobody is going to take you seriously. Nobody is going to help you in any meaningful way. It's really all on you, and I'm used to it. I feel like my whole life I've been underestimated in different areas. A lot of people haven't taken me seriously. I want to change these things, by the way. I don't see it as a virtue. I don't see it as like, oh, they missed out because I'm actually really great and it's their loss. No, I mean, I'd like to get better at, making good first impressions on people and just having people like me right away versus people having to warm up to me after several meetings. But no, I mean, what I'm saying is I'm used to it. I'm used to rejection. I'm used to people not taking me seriously. I'm used to having to just figure things out myself. And I will say, giving myself some credit, most people are not that helpful, even if they would want to be. If you ask anybody for advice on something, like, it can be anything, and the advice you're going to get from 99% of people is the most cookie-cutter, generic advice that you could have just Googled. Yeah, half the time, like, Google is going to give you a better answer than some random person. No, I mean, if you're deeply interested in a topic or many topics, you really just have to invest a lot of time into it, show people that you're serious, and then once you have some clout in that space, you can hopefully meet people who have clout in that space, and you can actually share interesting ideas. But I'm not there yet, and I'm also aware that our time is limited. Like I said, I don't think there's that much you can do to really extend your life. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I live longer than 70 years, that's a huge blessing. I mean, and at 35, I'm halfway there already. So I mean, and some people too, they'll get sick, disabled in their 50s and their 60s. They'll have a massive heart attack unexpectedly. They'll stroke out. They'll have some debilitating chronic illness that prevents them from being able to do things physically, prevents them from, you know, being able to do the type of intellectual work they were able to do when they were younger. So, I mean, not even that isn't guaranteed, but like statistically, if you just go by the average normal, healthy adult male, I'd say that you have, on average, 40 productive years to do stuff, you know, really from age 20 to age 60, roughly. You know, some people, they get a great head start in whatever they're passionate about as a teenager. And some people, they're blessed genetically and they're able to continue to do good work into their 60s and 70s and sometimes even later. But no, in general, you have your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s to do stuff, and I'm already halfway through my 30s, so I guess that's part of why I was feeling a little down when I made that I'm a loser video, because I just know my time is finite, and I'm not delusional, I'm realistic about just how much work the things that I want to accomplish are going to take, and yeah, like I said, the crux of the video is I just feel very uneducated. I know barely anything about math. I don't know that much about history, about literature. There's so many classics I've never read. I mean, I have an interest in languages, but I haven't even done that well. Like, I've studied French for a long time, but it's not to the level where I would like it to be. You know, even now reading classic French literature, it would be a huge struggle. I would still have to look a lot of things up. There's so much stuff written in German that's of great academic and historical importance, and my German is beginner level, basically. Granted, I haven't put much time into it, but that's part of the problem in the first place. Time is limited, and then of course there's the dead languages like Latin and ancient Greek, and also Sanskrit as well. And then there's the question: are those languages even worth learning? Or because you know, if you're a native English speaker, you have access to very good translations of most things, whether they're ancient texts or stuff that was written a few hundred years ago or today. And you know, is learning the ancient languages, or even French or German, just to read those works in their original language, is it even worth the time investment if you already speak and understand English? So, I mean, that's a question to ask yourself as well. And so yeah, my language skills aren't where I feel they should be as an educated person. My math skills are not where I feel they should be, and just my general knowledge of history, humanities, and the world is not where I feel it should be. And yeah, and it's just hard to really know where to begin, and it's hard to really find people to talk to about this stuff when you're kind of a beginner in you know, trying to live the life of a polymath, the mind, brain maxing, whatever. I think brain maxing is going to be the next thing, by the way. I feel like I'm always 5 years ahead of the curve, and I think a lot of you would agree with me on that, because I still get comments saying the videos I made years and years ago were way ahead of their time, and I agree. I think that I was chud maxing about 5 years before it became big, and then I was looks maxing probably 5 years before that became mainstream with clavicular this past year, and then I think around 5 years from now, brain maxing is going to be the next big thing, because I've been getting into that now. I'm just trying to maximize my brain, the amount of useful knowledge that I know, and I think people are gonna become more interested in really trying to become polymaths and just learning as much as they can about all of the subjects that matter. Basically just trying to be like Aristotle and just have all of the general knowledge that we possess in this world. And And I guess one other thing that I want to mention too on that note before I end this video is I'm Christian. I actually converted to Catholicism as an adult fairly recently, and I'll probably make a video about my conversion and why I became Catholic. But I just think a lot about Christ and the Bible and the history of Christianity and all of the struggles and persecutions that Christians have faced over the last 2,000 years, and all of the contributions that Christianity and the Catholic Church have given Western culture over the last 2,000 years. Because I mean, Western culture is Christian culture, really, and the reason why things have been decaying so much in the last in the last few decades especially, but really the last 100 years or so, has been due to our culture overall becoming more secular, becoming less Christian. And so I think about those things a lot, and I just think about what the average person wants out of life. I mean, especially if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe that Christ is your Savior, then what actually are you living for? What is the average person actually living for? And, you know, if you're not living to serve God and to steward God's creation, to steward whatever resources you're put in charge of due to your station in life, then what even are your overall objectives? And I think a lot of people don't even think about it. People just live day to day. They think about what's going to give them the most pleasure in the moment, or will give them the most pleasure in the next week or the next month or the next few years even. But it just makes me sad because, one, if Christ were to come back to earth, I mean, people say that when he comes back a second time, it'll be judgment. But if he were to come back, you know, same story all over again as 2,000 years ago, I have no doubt it would play out the same. He'd be executed again. I think humans overall just are very sinful, as am I. I'm not saying I'm any better than anyone else, but I think humanity as a whole would treat Christ terribly. Maybe even worse than he was treated initially, actually. And that makes me very sad, and I just... So one, I think, how do we make people more morally good? Whether it's creating family structures where children are raised better, or if there's some way to, you know, change people as adults. But that's very hard because, like I said a little while ago, it's very, very rare for adults to make any meaningful changes in their beliefs or their habits after they're, you know, in their early mid-20s. And so that's one issue. And then the other thing I think of as well is, you know, really, if you believe in God, the best way to honor God's creation is really just to take care of this world as best we can, and take care of each other the best that we can. You know, whatever you do unto the least of your brothers, you do unto me. And so I mean, naturally, I think that would lead to overall, how do we make the world better? And you know, so many billionaires or people who have a lot of money, politicians, world leaders, whatever, they'll kind of talk with that rhetoric. I mean, and most of the population doesn't even care at this point. I mean, I think a lot of people just feel hopeless, and they you know, feel like there's really nothing that can be done to make the world better. You know, the world just sucks and it's always gonna suck. And I think people just feel very hopeless. But in addition to that, for the people that do want solutions to things, you know, politicians, they'll give some speech about, oh, we're going to have this program and it's going to solve this problem, we're going to solve this problem. And but I feel like most people who are in positions of power, they don't really either they don't believe themselves that things can really be made better, or at least that things can't, be made better in any measurable way. And so I think most people who are in power, they're not really looking for any real solutions. And they'll just have a tiny band-aid for some huge systemic problem, and they'll call that a success because some metric improved by 2% over 10 years or whatever. It's such a joke. And so I guess my other thought is, how can I make the world better in the biggest way possible as a person, and in conjunction with other like-minded people, because I do believe that us as humans, we're capable of so much. I think that 100 intelligent men who are working together can accomplish more than you could ever imagine. A few thousand intelligent men who are coordinated and have a common goal, and can be coordinated and not fight with each other constantly. They can, in my opinion, they can achieve anything. And I think most of the world's problems, and the thing too is, atheists, they always complain so much about suffering, and they say, oh, if God is all powerful, why does he allow people to suffer? But most of the suffering on this earth is due to our own sin. It's due to our own shortcomings. I'm sorry, I am so dehydrated. I need some water. That cap does not want to come off. Dang. Okay. But no, most of the suffering in this world is self-inflicted, is what I'm saying. Because people don't want to make the individual changes that they know they really should make to be better people and have better lives. And at the macro level, groups of people, families, nations don't want to make the changes that need to be made to actually improve things. And so I just wonder, I know I'm not alone. I know there's other people who think like me, but there's so few people you can actually talk to about ideas, about making actual positive changes in the world. And again, this ties back into, people just thinking you're delusional. Once again, if you're some teenager and you want to, I guess the other thing too, though, I feel like, if you're a teenager and you really want to make a positive change, people will say they're on your side and cheer you on. But I think most of those people, they still think you're delusional, but they're like, oh, it's a kid, he'll grow out of it. So I guess actually I feel less bad for myself now, because really people, at least on the inside, mentally, what they're thinking, they don't view me any differently, other than the fact that why hasn't this guy grown up yet? Why hasn't he given up yet? Why hasn't he realized that life is terrible, life sucks, nothing will ever improve? Why is he still trying? And so for that, they view you as delusional. And so, and I guess one other thing too, I know I'm rambling so much, but I tend to do that. The bar is so low for success in so many areas now. I know there's a quote that like 90% of success is showing up, and that's really true. Most things that if you want to accomplish them and be better than most people, you just have to show up consistently and try, and you'll at least be above average in that area, if not, near the top in ability compared to most people. So yeah, in short, I feel like a loser, but only because I have high expectations for myself and for life, I guess. But I guess I want more out of life than most people. And also those like I'm a 30-year-old loser videos, they've become really popular lately, so I wanted to jump on the trend to see if I'd get any traction from that. But yeah, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Maybe I'll post again soon, we'll see. Good night.